Well, hello, and welcome to PM Woodworking. My name is Paul. I've been woodworking for over 45 years. So if you're just starting out in woodworking as a hobby, or have been for years, I would love to share the projects I've created, and would love to share a story or two about my journey. So stay and spend some time with me. I would love to see you grow in your skills as we start out with some easy projects and progress to more difficult projects, but most important, have fun and break away with me for just a little while from our crazy and hectic lives. Let's go. Alrighty, so you've made it through episode 1 and 2 of the Footstool, the beginning, and the Footstool, episode 2, the build, and you have now made it to episode 3, which is it is finished. I hope you enjoy it. All right, so I got some of the tools off the table, got them cleaned up. So our top piece, I am just going to lightly sand the corners, make them a little round so we don't get any sharp edges anywhere. Eliminate any chance for splinters. And then I'm just lightly going to round or just ease the corners. I feel as if you don't do that, it's just a place for a little break of the corners. You know, they just little splinter off from banging into it. Just eliminate that little bit right there. Kind of eases it, makes it a little softer and on the eyes. These little tiny things that you can do that don't seem like much, actually are. Little details. So that's that. So you see the pieces, I got that little edge around it that I was telling you about. Kind of separates the two pieces. Let me get the bench, we'll see what that's going to look like now. With the top put on. So that's basically what it's going to look like. Alright, I think it looks nice. Little quick project. I will glue the plugs in later. This way when I go to polish it and stain it, I can get a nice even thing instead of having some dark spots where you're hitting that and you're over staining and stuff. So that's where we're at. I think we're all set for tomorrow to assemble, stain, and bring it upstairs. See you tomorrow. All right, we're going to get started on staining. I'm using a minwax stain, and I am using a natural with a little mix of some, what did I mix in there? The Puritan pine, just a little couple drops. And just going to start staining it up. There we go. A couple drops just adds a little more color to that natural. So you see it instead of it just kind of being more like a clear. All right. you want to pull it out from the edges when you're staining. This is what I mean about pulling out from the edges with the stain. Alrighty. I like to do the insides first, so you don't have to keep flipping and getting fingerprints all over everything. Where's my little stick here? I'll mix it a little every once in a while. I don't like staining pine dark unless you're using a wood conditioner or something. The dark stains tend to make pine very blotchy. So I like to go lighter on pine. If it was some other wood that didn't get that blotchiness in, I just think it makes it look cheap. Like you didn't know how to finish it, but when I'm doing pines, I generally stay to the lighter colors, lighter stains. Give you more of a natural look to it. They do sell a wood conditioner, pre-stain wood conditioner for it. But even with that, you can still get a little blotchiness in it. The lighter colors, as you see, you don't get any of that. Well, we're getting close to the end of the project. I hope you guys liked making this with me. I know my wife is looking forward to having a new footstool so she can rest her knee upon it and make her more comfortable. It's all about comfort. Not stressing out over being uncomfortable. I think that'll make the healing quicker. So this project, I think we did it for probably material-wise under $20. I was taking a guess probably 15 or something, but under 20 definitely. And it's something that will last much longer than anything you're going to buy in the store. And it'll have your name on it. Let everybody know you made it. And you're proud of your work. I do hope you guys take the time to like and subscribe to PM Woodworking. Leave me some comments. Love to get back to you. I'd love to see what you're making in your shop, in your garage. And love to see your progression. Hopefully we can do this for a long time, and maybe you give me some nice ideas on things to make. Share with each other. Show
anybody can read the comments there and give you some good ideas on what you're making and what problems maybe you came up against, so someone else doesn't have that problem. Believe me, no project ever goes perfect. Something will always break, something will always get a chip in it, and you're like, I'm not putting that piece on, and you take the time and you make another piece. It happens. I gotta remember to put some stain on the wood buttons that are gonna go over these screw holes. So the reason I didn't secure the top in, I just find it easier to work the stains and the waxes that you're going to put on without the top, because that's going to go on and it's just screwing in from the underside, so you're not going to see any of it. Not going to see this top piece, but I like finishing everything. This way, if it's ever taken apart, everything looks the same. So let's make sure we didn't forget anything. Looks good. So that's natural with a little touch of Puritan pine mixed into it. Now let's get this top piece done. Now we can sit and let it dry. Get a coat of wax on it. Wait a day or so, we'll see how things go. I love the smells of the shops, the oils, the stains, the waxes, the wood. There's just something about it. Very natural. Sometimes I would just come and just sit in the shop and look at things and take in the smells of the pines and the cedar that may be in here. Especially in the winter when you're not out so much in the outdoors. I like being out in the woods and stuff, so I love those smells that you get. Tell me what you think. Just throw some towels down there just so it doesn't scratch up. Like I said, I like to do the undersides of projects also. Doing a picture frame or something, I'll stain and do the backside of it. I don't know, I just think it shows a little more class on your project when you care about the back as much as you do the front. Taking a couple extra minutes to make it special. What do you think? You like the color? You like that soft tone? That more natural look? I like the top. See what I mean about the lines and the separations and stuff? I just think it looks better. I love that one knot sitting on the top. I think that looks nice. Knots add so much character to a project. You want to make sure you get in that little groove. There we go. I think we got it all. All right. So here we go. What do you think? Oh, the buttons. Good thing you reminded me. That's funny, huh? Let's get some stain on those. They're just the little buttons that are going to cover the screw holes. They generally stain up a little darker. It's a different wood, but I think that adds a little character to it. Let's just see that, hey, there's little buttons there. And I generally will just glue those in, a little dab of glue. Just tap them in lightly so you don't put any dents in the top of them. So that don't look so good. So we're almost done. Couple coats of wax and buffing that on. What I like about the wax is you can always go back and brighten it up at another time, maybe in a year or two. It looks a little dull. Go in there and just quickly throw some wax on there and you're all set like a new piece of furniture. So that's that. Let everything all set up. How does it look from a distance? Let me step back and take a look. I like it. Easy project, you know, couple hours in the shop. And you can have a nice footstool. Like I said, I will probably make a second top for this and use the leather and pad it and maybe flip it out after all said and done. But for now, I think that looks great. Well, see you in a little bit and we'll finish this project up and move on to another one. I appreciate you guys spending time with me. It means a lot. Thank you. Hello guys, welcome back. Coming down to finish up the stool, footstool. I'm going to put a butcher's wax clear paste. I'm going to apply that to this piece and buff it out, and then finish up on installing the top to it. So let's get started with applying the wax. Alrighty. So it's just a clear wax. Just apply that to the product. I'll do a couple coats of this. I'll let it dry and then buff it out. So you rub it on, let it dry for a little bit, and then you take a nice dry towel and just kind of polish it out and buff it in. You always want to put something on the surface of wood just to protect it in case something spills on it. Fingerprints, stuff like that. You don't have to go crazy with all the specialty finishes. I like to keep things simple, something that's practical and you can just go back and touch up the finish. You know, if it gets a little dull, I can go back at this and polish it up again. In a year, if I feel the finish has faded a little, and it just brings it all back to life again. So it's kind of a very simple process. You can finish things up quickly, not having to wait between coats for days for things to harden up or stuff like that. So pretty much in an hour this will be upstairs from my wife. She can get her feet up in the air on the couch and keep her leg elevated nice, and she'll be comfortable. So I'm hoping to do a bunch more projects with you guys. I'm going to try to get a video out hopefully once a week. Not sure on the day that it'll post or whatever. I'm thinking probably on a Friday. That gives me time during the week after work to finish up some projects and do things like this. Stuff that's quick, something that's not drawn out where you can't get satisfaction. You know, I don't want to take the time, and well, it's not that I don't want to take the time. I just don't have the time to start some big projects right now with everything going on. So I'm going to try to stick to these smaller projects that I can get done in a few days or a week. So where you're not overwhelmed if you start these projects or do stuff like this. Where you feel like, oh, this is taking too long. You just like to see things happen a little quicker. And you can show your friends, hey, I did this during the week. Friends come over for football or for a baseball game or something. You can show them what you've made. Sure they'll be happy and be like, wow, that's cool. Who are you watching? Who are you learning this from? Oh, I watch PM Woodworking. I'm sure that's what you're going to tell all your friends. If you do, that's great. The more people we can get into the woodworking community, the having a nice hobby, It is very satisfying. And it's good to spend time with each other and get these projects done. All right, I'm going to set that aside. And let's get the top done. Stuff on there. Want to get stuff into that little groove. Work it in. Like I said, we'll get a couple coats on here, make it look pretty. I love the wax when it hits a knot. It just enhances the color of it. Makes it kind of pop. I don't know if you can see the wax on there. It really doesn't change it. It kind of pulls the grain a little, enhances it a little more. Not sure if you hear that noise above me. That's my wife wheeling around on her walker on the oak floors above me, making a little noise. I know she can't help that, but hey, you might hear it rolling around. At least I know she's okay. That's a good sign. I gotta get up there and check on her, make sure, see if she needs anything. And just get this coat of wax on, let it sit for a bit, and then I'll head upstairs and check on her. Like I said yesterday or last night about finishing even the underside, the things people don't see or won't see unless they flip a piece over and be like, wow, this guy took some extra time and actually finished the whole piece. You do see a lot of people, they don't do the back side of things. Even just putting a little stain just so it doesn't look like raw wood. I don't know, that's just the thing that I've always done. I feel as if you're going to take the time to do something, you may as well do it right. Go the extra mile. There we go. All right, I'm going to take a little break for a couple minutes, check in on things, and I'll be back. Alrighty, back to buff out the wax, and then we'll apply another coat. Nice tight joints in here. Everything looked really nice on this piece. Just take your time, like I say, on your 45s. Nothing worse than looking at an open joint on a piece of wood. Try to make them as tight as possible. If you mess it up, make another one, because you don't want to sit back and look at that piece. Stuff happens. Sometimes you overcut on your joints. It's happened. I've done it a couple times, and I just don't want to sit there in a year and be like, I don't know, why didn't I make another piece? whatever it is, another dollar of material. But if you're taking the time to make a project, take the time to do it to the best of your abilities. And if by chance that's the best you can do, then fine. But if you feel as if you can do better, take the time and make it right. See the nice tight joints on there? Corners are nice, the tips are good. Nothing opened up. So it's all making sure that you start off with a true 90 degrees, and then when you do your 45s, everything will come together. If you're off a little on your 90, you're going to be off a little on your 45. So always take the time to make sure your cuts are square. Make sure your machines are set up and running true. Takes a moment to do that. Looks good. I like it. So what I'll do after this is all done, after the next coat of wax, I'll put the plugs in to cover the screw holes. And then we'll secure the top from under the underside with some 1 1/4" screws. And like I said, at that point, it's something that maybe if that top gets ruined, or if you want to replace it like I will be doing with a leather padded top, it's an easy removal. And you just save the top. If you have a different feel for a room or something, you can just change the top back. Just gives you options. I like options. I like being practical with things and have stuff like that where you can just change things if you feel a bit about that. And you'll feel the wax once it starts buffing out. It starts to get nice and smooth, and every coat that you put on, you can hear the difference in the sound of the cloth running past it. It's just, that's nice and smooth. You don't hear that roughness of just the stain on it. So I really didn't have plans that I went off. I pretty much do a lot of my work on the cup just off the top of my head. I have a plan in my head of how to do things and what I want. You know, I'll draw a quick picture. And what I like to do, after I draw a picture, I put it to the side, and after I'm done with the project, I look at my picture that I had in my head, and then I compare it to what actually came about. And my goal is to always make it look like something that I had thought of in my head, and see how it came out in the wood. It's one thing to draw things on paper and then put it on a piece of wood, and it's like, wow, it's not what I thought it was going to be, or it came out different, which is fine. It's good to be able to change things on the fly if you have to. Going with the flow, something might happen where you may have undercut a piece, and then you just got to make some other adjustments. If you got to shorten it an inch or so, or ½ inch, or even ¼ inch, it's adjusting all your other pieces and knowing that that's, you know, something that you'll learn. Like I say, plans aren't written in stone. How do you like that? See what I mean about the wax and the stains, keeping it natural. You know, sometimes you like that little amber color that you can add now that makes a piece look a little aged. You know, when things sit in the sun, the patina a little different. Makes it look old. That's what I like. What do you think, guys? Nice? Alright, that's one coat. Like I said, you can probably hear the difference the way the cloth is moving across the material now. Sounds a lot smoother. I'm sure the next coat will even make it sound better. Sounds of the shop. You can tell a lot by the way things sound when you're doing things, when you're cutting things. You get used to a certain noise when your tools are operating. When you have a nice fresh blade on there, you get a different noise than when you have an old blade on there. These are things that you'll pick up over time and be like, wow, it's time to change my blade. Not just because it's not cutting, you can hear the different pitches of your material as it passes through. Alrighty, so that's that. Everything all looks nice here. Nice and smooth. I'm going to pop another coat of wax on there. A little bit of fuzz off there. Alrighty, we'll do it again. So I hope you get the time to check out some of the other videos that I have on YouTube and check them out, see if you get any more ideas or learn something new. Don't ever think you know everything. Be like, oh, I don't have to watch. I know that. Well, you might know that, but you may pick up something else. I always say if you can sit back and learn just one thing a day, one thing, that means a lot. Don't ever think you know it all, because at that point, everybody else realizes you don't know anything. If you can stop learning and thinking you know it all, always try to learn something every day. All right. So I hope you like and subscribe to PM Woodworking. This way I know that someone's out there, someone's watching, someone's listening, and just making new friends every day. Even if it's just one of yous, I'd do it for one of yous. I would. Woodworking can be very satisfying. We don't take enough time for ourselves to just sit back and enjoy things and learn something. Like learning how to relax. Hardest thing that we can learn is relaxing and enjoying things. Spending time with the family, making things for the family. Like this bench, you know. Some people are like, oh, you could buy it. I could. But when you make something for somebody because you care about them, to make their life better, people remember that. you took the time to do something for someone else. Like I said, you can go to the store and buy things, but it's just not the same. Taking the time to let people know that you care about them and you made it for them, for their purpose of whatever it may be. I'm sure my wife will be very happy, and I'll probably get a big hug and a kiss for this, which makes it all worth it. Let's get this top. So in working, obviously there is a bunch of math involved, like when we did this, all your 5-degree cuts and matching your tapers out. You'll figure all that out. It's simple math. You don't have to be a Rhodes Scholar to do this. Even if you don't know math or whatever, or fractions and figuring, you can make it work. Use what you have and build upon it. Like I say, if you don't understand it, learn it. All right, this is the last side, and I'll start buffing out that top piece again. I know I got to put another coat of wax on that. So, there we go. There you hear how that sound is smoothening out. That's a good sound. I like that. It's like buffing a car, and you take that towel when you're all done and slide it across the hood of the car, and it just keeps going. Wow, look at that. Ooh, the sun stopped. Got reminded there's a sun in the morning. Start a new day. That's a piece I believe I got in Pennsylvania. I believe in the Amish country. My wife and I were going around, and I think we found that somewhere in some garage sale or something. It's kind of the way I found it, and I always left it alone. I like kind of that rusty kind of look to it. The eyes still move. My grandson loves that thing. He calls them eyes. Eyes. Wants to go into the shop to see the eyes. Okay, buddy. Let's go down to the shop and see the eyes. It's one of those unique things, I guess, that will be here for him. One day we'll probably watch these videos and he'll be like, eyes, eyes. And he'll laugh. Like, yeah, I used to love coming down to the shop and watch the eyes move. Maybe one day he'll be down here with me, and we'll be making a project together, and I can show him some things so he can have a hobby like this, or who knows, maybe he'll take it further and be like, wow, Grandpa, that was fun. I think I want to do this for a living. All right, buddy. You can do that. But remember to have fun. Always like what you do. Enjoy every moment. life is short. So that's a simple finish to put on. Yet it gives it that nice look. I think a lot of people got away from the waxes and stuff and went a lot to the urethanes. But with that, they get scratched, and then it's a pain in the neck to fix the scratches. With this, it's just, I think it's a nice finish. It protects, and you can keep on doing it. Just bring your pieces back to life. I mean, I've had some pieces that have sat for a long time, and like, oh, that looks terrible. Lightly clean it, whatever it is. I'll just get another coat of wax on, brings it right back. Hey, you hear that? Nice and smooth. Like I said, remember the parts you don't see and the finishes that you don't look at all the time are just as important as the ones you do. Always do the undersides. You guys have any ideas on things that you'd like me to make, or if you come up with an idea of something that you're looking to do but just aren't sure how, drop that in the comments and maybe I will take your idea that you're not sure about how to do, and I can walk you through it, or we can even do the build together. And then hopefully it helps you, and then you can make it at your shop. Let's start with some simple projects for you. Learn how to use your tools, and always be safe. Safety, safety, safety. It's hard to do woodworking without fingers, so always keep that in the back of your head. Keep your fingers away from the tools. Use your push sticks. Don't do things that you're not comfortable doing. Practice on smaller pieces, not smaller projects, and get used to seeing how your tools operate. Feel comfortable where your switches are, and get a feel for what the tool can actually do. It's important. You want to be comfortable where you can just, without thinking about it, hit a kill switch. If there's a problem, that way you're guessing, where am I going to go for that switch? Want to be able to reach down without thinking, or overhead, wherever your switches may be, to be able to shut things off if something goes wrong. Making yourself comfortable. Reaction time is important. I mean, I've had some issues where things have gone wrong, and I was able to get myself out of a situation just from, let's call it muscle memory on where things are and where you're reaching. You don't think that's important, but yeah, it's woodworking, yeah. Muscle memory, doing the things and knowing where your switches are and not having to think about it. It's just like when you're in the shop and you just want, you know where it is. Like I could tell someone where anything is in this shop. So I'm not thinking really about it, just let's call it a habit of, all right, it's here. It's always putting your tools in the same spot all the time, so you're not wasting time digging through a pile and think, oh, I know it's in this pile. Oh, if you put it in the right spot all the time and the same spot, it just saves a lot of time during your build, and you're not getting frustrated like, I'm done. Can't find the tool, it's not where it's supposed to be, or I didn't put it back and now it's in a pile somewhere that I gotta fish through. It just takes the fun out of a lot of things when you're wasting time just trying to look for things. That's done, that's done. You can feel when things are done. That's not. I think I'm going to stick with these 2 coats. I think it came up nice. You got that nice shine in there. You can see it in the light. Nice satiny, soft touch. That's done, that's done. That's done. That's done. You could feel it, and you will. See how nice and smooth it goes. The noise is different. All done. Wow, it looks nice. Very nice. Let's get the top. So you might have to dig your nail into that groove to get some wax out of it. Nothing worse than seeing a clump of wax in there. There we go, it's all out. I guess our next step will be putting those wood buttons on. Get some glue and glue those in. Then we'll get another quick coat on those. After they dry, we don't want to put them in and then have them pop out. So we'll let them set a little while. Come back down and just do a finished coat of wax. So I have the top actually marked where I want it to fall. I wanted to get those pencil marks on. I actually did those yesterday. Because once you put the wax on there, it gets kind of hard to hold the line. So I put it underneath that wax. You're not going to see it, but it'll be my point where I don't have to go crazy trying to go back and forth with some measurements. It's already laid out and done, and it's under the wax. So the next time I replace the top, it'll go in the same spot. So maybe sometime down the line, when I make that top and we do the leather and the padding, I'll show you how I do that. I've done a little bit of leather work, not a ton. I used to make a lot of rocking horses, and I would have the leather seat I would make up, the saddle, the ears and stuff like that. That's a project for another day. All right, that's that. So that's all polished up. So I have the plugs that we, there's some fuzzies on that we stained up yesterday when we were staining the project. So basically I'm going to glue them and just push them in. Probably just tap them in with a little bit of a light hammer tap. Let me get my glasses, there we go. Ooh, got a little wax buildup in these holes. Let's get that wax out of there. It's like picking out earwax. Pretty gross. All right, got the wax out of the holes. Let me just get a little hammer to tap it out on. Let's see what else we got here. All right. Put a little dab in there. Don't just rely on the plug itself to stay in place. You don't want your plugs coming out when you got little kids around. I got some grandbabies, and they'll find these little things on the floor and stick them in their mouths. So we don't want that to happen. So always put glue on this stuff. You don't know who's going to be around you. Don't hit it too hard. You don't want to dent that up. There we go. You see how that looks? It's a little bit of character to the piece, doesn't it? Something so simple. Just taking the time to make these little details. You do not want to see screw heads, black drywall screws, or anything on a workpiece. It's not something you're pulling out of a box where you're putting together with an Allen key. And everything's all showing. Don't like that. Also, you want to make sure on the grain direction. You know, I failed on that one. As I'm doing it, I'm putting them in and then I just put one in wrong. So there is a grain on the plug. You want it to match the grain on your project. So everything looks the same. Grain direction's all right. Just get a little piece of wood to tap this down. That one ain't sitting right. I'm not liking that one. Go. That's better. So grain direction on the plugs, you want it to go in the same direction as your project. All right. All right, they're all good. So there's the bench. There's the top. All right, there we go. I'm going to let these plugs dry. I'll give them an hour or so. Come back down, put another coat of wax on it, and then we'll be done, and I can bring it upstairs and be done with it. All righty. Thank you. All right. So we're going to finish up this project now. The last step we had glued the plugs in. I was waiting for them to dry, so we didn't pop them out when we were putting the wax and rubbing the wax off. So we're going to do that, and then we are going to screw the top through the subtop and up, and we'll secure that tightly. All right. So let me just move this over here. And we are going to get some wax on these buttons. Just to seal them up nice. So everything has a coating on it. Might as well just do this whole surface again while we're at it. Ain't gonna hurt it. All right, and we'll just rub that off quick. So this project is coming to an end. Can't wait for the next one. Not sure what it's gonna be, but we'll come up with something nice and something more time to spend together in the hobby of woodworking. Our time to relax and spend some time together, learning how to use tools, how to be creative, and explore woodworking. I hope you continue to stay on the journey with me. And I hope we can both benefit from the time we have together. So what I'm going to use to secure the top are some 1 5/8". I have some stainless steel screws. I don't want to use a black drywall screw. It'll kind of stand out if you flip it upside down. So I'm going to go with something more of a silver, because I am not countersinking them because I want to, and plugging them. I want to be able to remove them if need be. Let's get that in there. So let's get this going. So being that they are screws that are 1 5/8 and our material is a total of 1.5 inches, I am going to drive those screws on a slight angle. This way they don't come out the top. I need my glasses for this. So like I said, I have my pieces marked. I did that before I waxed them up. Give me a second, I just want to check something. Alright, we got that one. Got that. So they should all be the same all around. There we go. The ends were marked good. I just tapped it with my hands. All right. So I'm going to secure it with 4 screws. So I got an extended bit so I don't interfere with the shelving. So I'm going to drive one in. Like I said, I'm driving it in on a slight angle, being that the length of the screw is almost the same length of the material, so driving it in on a slight angle, I will not go through the face. Oop, we'll pick that one up in a second. All right, let's spin this around to get 2 on the other side. Try to put them in the same spots going through. Oh, that other one I had dropped. Yeah. Let's get that one secured. All right. There we have it. We have completed the project. There we have it, guys. I hope you can attempt to make something like this in your shop or something that you may need. So like I said, I started with a drawing. I will bring it closer to you. Just a quick drawing in my head, just popped it on paper. So we got that pretty close to what I thought it would be like and how I wanted it to look. If you want, send me a comment that you want the math on it. I'll send it to you. All right. So once again, thank you for spending time with PM
PM Woodworking. I appreciate it. Like and subscribe. Give me a thumbs up. Tell me about your projects. Tell me about you. I'd like to get to know you. Thank you so much for spending time with me.